Hi, this is Alix Paultre for EE Times, and I'm here today with Graham Maggs. He's the Vice President of Marketing for EMEA for Mouser Electronics, and Mark Burr-Lonnon. He's the Senior Vice President of Global Service for APAC and EMEA, which is a fancy way of saying you're all worldwide business people for Mouser working for the international engineering community. Correct, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Totally correct. Thank
Well, the reason I'm glad to catch you here, I mean, we're in town, there was an event, and I said, let's talk, because the market's booming, there are a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts, and you've got a great stadium-level view of the entire game. What are you seeing?
Well, from our point of view, we're seeing that the market in Europe, as in around the world, is doing exceptionally well. The electronic component industry is feeding the equipment manufacturers, automotive manufacturers, IoT, whatever direction and number of verticals there are, we're supplying product for it today.
How about you, Mark?
Well, we're finding the whole global market's fantastic right now, and everyone always asks me how's business, and my words are we're just living the dream, Alex. I mean, so this has been such a good year, and it's really been good because it's everywhere. I mean, our business in the Americas is up over 20% this year. In Asia, it's up close to 40%. But Europe's actually been really good. It's been exceptional, and currently we're running at about 41% up, and we see that going higher before the end of the year. So it really is good everywhere, and we're seeing it from small customers to big customers alike, and we see that growth going well into 2018 as well.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. One of the areas that I love talking about, because it's literally at the convergence of all of these technologies, is the car. Internet of Things, smart grid, advanced power technologies, autonomous driving, AI, it's all there.
Mm-hmm. All those markets, I mean, just purely because of the outreach that Mouser has. I mean, we have over 550,000 customers worldwide. We're adding about 1,000 customers a day, and that comes from every single sector. So, but there is a lot of activity in that autonomous driving area, a lot of activity, of course, in the automotive area. We're seeing that as being very strong right now, and we see that continuing just purely through the technology which is coming about.
What do you see as the big disruptive play? The electrification of the car or the automation of the car?
I think it's the fear of people. It's that'll be what's stopping it. People are still concerned. I believe there was recently a vote, or should I say a survey, where the vote was heading towards the fact that only 1 out of 10 people would trust going into an autonomous car. I think that will change. It's changed for VHS, it's changed for digital, it changed for man in space. It's just whatever happens at that moment. Mouser actually is looking to drive the automotive scene simply because, as Mark was saying about the number of customers, a large number of our customers are engineers. We specifically focus and drive new products, new technologies into the industry. So our focus on the engineering community in the automotive area is key. We're ensuring that they have the latest products, whether it be AI, whether it be any type of processor that is looking to drive anything or to run everything associated with automotive applications. Power is big, so we have all the necessary connector company products, sensor products, circuit protection products. The engineering community today throughout Europe, especially here in Germany, is really key.
Actually, one thing, Alex, was quite interesting. We spoke earlier a little about our sponsorship of the Formula E and why we got into that. And to be honest, the reason we did that was just purely because of the technology and what's happening with the advances which are happening within Formula E itself. And actually, what we're seeing this year is some new teams coming into that. Porsche coming in, for instance. So some of the big manufacturers now of the cars really using Formula E as a way to get their technology into those types of vehicles, which then is going to take it out into the passenger vehicles as they go forward. So we think we were doing a really good thing getting into Formula E, and we still stick by that. It's taken us very close to a lot of companies involved in electric vehicles and the engineers who are involved in doing the new designs. So we hope that Mouser is helping to drive new designs in the electronic vehicles purely by the association with Formula E. So.
No, and I agree with you completely. In fact, that was I was about to ask about Formula E. Your timing is perfect.
Thank you.
Now, leading on beyond that, the other side of that, when you start talking AI, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, they're related, obviously, but where do you see the big dividing lines? Is it in the wireless side? Is it in the sensor side? Microcontrollers?
Go on, Graham.
Well, I don't know of a company in the world today that is not looking to go into sensors. If it's a connector company, they're involved in sensors. If they're a semiconductor company, they're involved in sensors. Sensor companies are involved in sensors. IoT has highlighted that. It's all about communication and the link wirelessly between a sensor and sensing something. So we have, obviously, because we focus on the engineer, the products from 550 plus different suppliers of components. And that includes all the top lines necessary to feed the IoT and automotive and all the necessary markets today.
I think what you find, I mean, using the word sensor there is quite interesting because we've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions over the last few years, and we're not going to see the end of that. I think as the market changes, that's going to probably pick up a pace again. And sensors is one of those areas where there's probably been less M&A over the last few years. And I think what you're going to find is there are lots of very specified sensors for certain areas, and that's going to remain. But I think you're going to suddenly get a lot more of these companies being sensor specialists. So I think there's probably going to see a lot more specialization in that area from a few big guys. And that's going to be interesting because it probably needs that. It's not going to take out some of the smaller people, but I think there will be less people doing sensors going forward. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense as well. No pun intended, haha. Now, speaking of these then categories now, as distributors, you see a lot of these flows and demands. Are there any areas in the space that you see an interesting amount of demand or directions that you weren't expecting to see?
Wow. It's difficult to answer that simply because we don't have an area that we're not involved with, whether it be B2B or B2C. I recall a few years ago we were very conscious of the university and hobbyists because we were providing a great deal of information and knowledge to those groups and support on certain projects at different universities. Today, with the maker community, and especially the pro maker community, this has meant that the amount of information that we focus on providing this has increased. Why? Because pro makers, those guys that enjoy working with electronics, enjoy in creating something new and developing something new, are the new startup companies of tomorrow and the new multinational billion-dollar companies of next year. And so we aim to supply, to support, and provide information for all of them. Mm-hmm. Because an engineer today in that company will still be an engineer liking Mauser, liking our online site and how to maneuver through the website and etc. tomorrow or with the next company. So for us to say, is there a particular market that is increasing more than another? I think we've hit it. IoT, automotive. There has been an upsurge in the need for mobile and handheld medical equipment, as an example. That's still continuing. Transportation, not necessarily automotive, off-road, train. There's a lot of new technology. Everything wants to have a plug-in for data or a wireless, even on whether it be on the train or on a coach in transportation. So we're trying to cover as much as we can. We're not limiting ourselves as a company to only focus in one market or another.
Well, that's a good point.
I think that's the beauty, Alex, of the fact that the breadth that Mauser has. I mean, the fact that we have such a breadth of coverage on just about every part that an engineer would ever need, that really takes us into all markets. There's nothing which we're restricted from. So the nice thing is from an engineering standpoint, we are seeing a lot more activity. So if we're a bellwether of the industry, that says that a lot of those products are going to have to go into designs, which are going to at some point come out to something. So. So we certainly see the future of electronics is very good. If you look at just about every application, there's more electronic components going on board just about everything. So I think we can all retire happy still in this industry without a doubt in 10 years' time, and because this future is really for all of us, yeah.
It's a very nice way of saying it. This future is for all of us. I'm really glad you said it that way.
I'd like to add one product category. We actually see a growth in a particular area that there isn't really the products for it, and that's augmented reality. This is an area that a large number of companies have been developing products, but very few at the moment have introduced the right product for the right market. And I think that will change next year, whether it be Intel or some of the more specialized niche manufacturers. But further to IoT, getting towards the AI, augmented reality is an area that will develop, and certainly I think next year will be the year that will sparkle, that spark will light.
Agreed. Augmented reality I believe virtual reality will always have a place, but augmented reality has a greater public appeal.
Yeah, for sure.
Before I let you gentlemen go, any last tips, advice, quotes, whatever you'd like to say for our audience before I let you go?
I guess from our standpoint, for everybody out there on our side of the fence, which is as a supplier or distributor, enjoy the market. The market is just fantastic right now. It will not always stay like this. Business always changes. We work very hard with our supply partners to bring the right number of products out to make sure we continually supply the market. We've added over $100 million worth of inventory just in the last 12 months. So the goal from ours was really to broaden the outreach of parts which we have from our manufacturers, to make sure when the engineer sits there, he has one thing in mind, is that the best chance for him to build his full bill of materials with one person is to come to Mauser first.
Well said.
Me, I would just simply keep it simple. Try us, experiences, profile of products, pricing, the customer service. We believe that we have it. We're a growing company. We'd like you to grow with us. And I'm going to end by saying I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you both, gents, and thank you for taking the time to watch.
Thank you.